The 5 or 6 year old goes to Burger King and he gets the Burger King crown. And he's like, "Mother, I do not respect this crown. The fast food enterprise is damaging our health and our economy. It is moving out the mom and pop businesses, and I won't wear it." That's what I was picturing.
You put buns on burgers, on cows, but we bros. I think that this baby could also be like a big Wendy's or McDonald's aficionado and is like, you trying to placate me with this dumbass Burger King crown? That's not going to fly in my book.
Yeah.
Wendy is my true love.
Yeah. He's like, "Listen, Taco Bell is better than Burger King." And that's the message of this song.
I think that's it. Otherwise, if I just actually try to dissect what this crown represents, it will just like be very evident to your audience how uneducated and dull my brain is. So I'm saying I'm here for the Burger King take. It's time.
Yeah, audience, if you can learn anything from this podcast, it is that the song Life is about Burger King versus other fast food franchises.
Yes. Hello and welcome to the Lyric Boys podcast. I'm Lucian Flores and with me is Andrew Stieglitz, and this is a podcast where we take one of our favorite bands, favorite artists, favorite musicians, and we pick 10 of the craziest, zaniest, wildest, most funny, most absurd lyrics, and we talk about them. We pull them, we pull them apart, and we have fun. All right, that's what we do. We have fun on this podcast. Wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, do me a favor, like and subscribe, or just subscribe. I don't care about liking. Who cares about that sort of thing? Subscribers make the world run, and they make us feel joy for once in our sad little brains. This is a very exciting episode. You know why? Because we are talking about the one, the only Woo Life. Andrew, say hello to our lovely audience. Tell them how excited you are.
Hello, lovely audience. So Woo Life is a band that I only have heard you talk about, and nobody else I have ever interacted with in my entire life has ever mentioned this band, to a point where I just thought you made them up. I was like, there's no way this band is real. Like, every time you mention them, I'm like, this is Lucian's like imaginary band that he talks about, because I don't know anybody else who knows them.
It's like Woo Life is my DJ name. And under the table, I play music. I'm like, isn't Woo Life great? And I'm just like trying to get you acclimated to the sound of my beats.
Yeah. And so that is my knowledge of Woo Life, is just through you talking about them.
All right. So Woo Life, the reason I wanted to dig into them now, this is definitely an episode that I'm excited for. But the reason is that their one and only album, Go Tell Fire to the Mountain, came out June 13th, 2011. And this episode's coming out, I think, June 7th? So it's 10 years. It's been 10 years since the world was blessed with the presence of Woo Life. And they just were such a... Yeah, so just 10 years of Woo Life, all right? This is the celebration. Everyone take a moment, applaud 10 years of Woo Life. So, Woo Life to me is like... I think of bands I really enjoyed in college. I think of bands that like felt cool to like, or I think of just like bands that were a moment in time that take me somewhere. And Woo Life is that for sure. I think they're kind of just like the encapsulation of what early 2010s indie rock was, and what it was about, what kind of was like cool in it, what kind of was popular, and they just shone bright, and that was it. So Woo Life. Do you know what it stands for? Do you have any idea what it stands for?
I know. Well, I know because you've told me. Yeah.
All right. Woo Life is World Unite Lucifer Youth Foundation, which is an iconic name, an amazing name. We love that name on this podcast. So, just like instantly great. It's already like you hear the name and you're like, you're hooked, right?
Intriguing.
Lean forward, right? So they're from Manchester, England. Heard of it?
Nope.
All right. Manchester is a city, a little industrial town in England. So Wikipedia would describe Woo Life, or actually, in fact, Wikipedia does describe Woo Life as indie rock, art rock, and post-rock. What I think is their most distinctive quality of their sound is the lead singer. So Ellery James Roberts. he has this very distinct voice, which is just like a death growl. It's gravelly, it's emotive, and like genuinely, I have no idea what he's saying most of the time, but it's just such a distinct sound. There's not quite any other band I've heard like that has that type of vocals. There's bands that have like had gravelly, hard to understand vocals, but just this sound. And then on top of that, you had like really heavy ass drums, like churchy organ sounds, like a lot of just like it was just such a cathartic sound, and like that was really captivating and interesting at the time. So Woo Life is Ellery James Roberts, Tom McClung, Joe Manning, Evans Catty. Formed in 2008. Don't know why I said that year like that.
That sounds like a person who is from a different dimension that doesn't have the same year system that we have. And like 2008, yes, fellow humans.
Formed in 2008. Woo Life self-described their own sound as heavy pop. So I guess they started in Manchester and they had this cult following. They declined like all record labels and like they declined like all interviews. So there was just this mysteriousness about like, who is this band of young Manchester lads who doesn't do interviews, isn't on a record label, is called World Unite Lucifer Youth Foundation, has this crazy voice. Like they just were like this enigma that I think like was really just like catnip for like music journalists at the time. To be like,
yeah, I was wondering how they got the attention of, because like I said at the top of this, I just thought you made them up.
Yeah.
So I was like, do people know who Woo Life is? Like, you're the only person who has mentioned them. So I was looking them up, and like they did get the attention of like Pitchfork and like Stereo Gum and like all these big music publications. And I'm like, how did they get the attention of these publications if they are like so small?
Woo Life was just such a vibe, and they were just like these young kids who like their website was fucking crazy. They just like their merch was crazy. Everything about them was just kind of interesting and different. So they released their only album, Go Tell Fire to the Mountain, like I said, in 2011, and it's a great album. I love it. It was like instantly one of my favorite albums. I think I hated it at first though, so maybe not instantly one of my favorite albums. I listened to it the first couple times and I'm like, what the hell is this music? I can't stand this guy's voice. I just don't like it at all. And then it grew on me, and then I was like, this is so good. It slaps. It's so emotive. It's just like, it's massive. It's like one of the hugest records that I know in existence. And
huge in terms of sound.
Yes, in terms of just like massiveness of just like, this is catharsis. This is it's just like the vocals are so big. It feels like a rallying cry. So Pitchfork gave it an 8.4. Our friends at beatsperminute.com, which is where you can also find the Lyric Boys podcast, gave it a 91%. So they were big fans. I think Q like magazine, which is like that British magazine, they were like the best new artist. So they were touring. They performed Letterman, and I implore anyone who's listening to watch that video. They performed the song Heavy Pop. The lead singer at the end of the song just yells, "What's up, motherfucker?" Letterman comes over and is like, does his Letterman stuff where he's like, "Are those your drums? Whose drums are those?" Which he, I guess, does like all the time. And then the band just slowly walks off stage, and Letterman's like, "You don't need to go. All right, goodbye." Just like incredibly awkward. And then, so I got super into Woo Life like in college. I never saw them. Like I remember their press person reached out to me and was like, "Was anyone want to cover Woo Life?" And like we had no one who wanted to cover Woo Life, and I regret that immediately.
Why did you not cover them if you like them so much?
I didn't know them. I didn't know them when they played Boston.
Oh, is that how you discovered them?
No, I discovered them randomly. They were just like, I remember the press. Like that was back in the day where I would read a lot of music websites and stuff, and I was also doing an internship at this like music management company, and one guy who worked there was just like blasting Woo Life, and I was like, "Huh, this is interesting." And then slowly, just like, I got really into it. So I have one big memory is being in a college party on my birthday, the song Heavy Pop just blaring as I blow out my candles, because I thought it would be fun. I used to think it was funny to make people listen to Woo Life, and then
I think that's funny to make people listen to stuff that makes them uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly. Which is yeah. And the RAs broke up the party as like Woo Life was blaring, and I thought that was a fun moment. And then on November 24th, 2012, I was in London studying abroad when suddenly Wu Life released an unreleased song. And I was like, this is exciting. And the unreleased song was accompanied by a very cryptic note that was written by the lead singer that basically ended the band. And no one in the band knew this was coming. And the note is wild. It's like just such a strangely written thing. But a quote from it is, Wu Life is dead to me. The sincerity of Go Tell Fire was lost in the bullshit of maintaining face in the world we live. Clap your hands, chimp. Everybody's watching. So yeah, a little like negative message. But then he was like, to the boys in the band, I love you. Go do your thing. Go keep making music. You're the best. So, but like definitely like an interesting vibe.
I feel like he was probably not in, let's just say, a good headspace at the time. Maybe needed to seek out some help, and I hope that he did.
Yeah, I get the sense that Wu Life kind of happened so fast for these guys, and they didn't want it to be. They didn't want to be like part of. I think just the industry, like so many young bands, just was like surprising and hard for them to deal with, and I think it definitely took its toll. But since Wu Life ended, a bunch of the guys have had side projects. The biggest ones that I can think of are Francis Lung, which is Tom McClung's side project, and he put out a single recently. He's been around, and it's pretty good. I enjoy it. And then Ellerly Roberts joined up with Ebony Horn to form the band Lost Under Heaven, which I think is like the most Wu Life-esque of the Wu Life side projects because it's just the same singer. And they released 2 albums, Spiritual Songs for Lovers to Sing in 2016 and Love Hates What You Become. Goddamn. The album that they released in 2019 is Love Hates What You Become. And I feel like the singer's doing better now. He's like in love and is like a lot more positive now, and is like, I think he kind of views back some of the older stuff he did as like a little bit like, you know, cynical and younger, and now he's like posting videos about like meditation and like happiness. So it's like, that's good. I'm glad to see that. Mm-hmm. And also I saw this band in 2016 or 2017, and it was just epic. It was me and my friend James Chang, and it was one of the most like just bombastic, cathartic, loud, in your face concerts I've ever been to. And also, they only had one album, so the encore, they played one of the songs again, which I've also heard for Wu Life. When you saw them live back in the day, they would play like 3 songs again for the encore, and I think that's so funny. But also, like, I don't care. Last thing I'll say is that since this is the 10th anniversary of Wu Life, they're releasing the album, which apparently on vinyl, which apparently that album is like hard to get now, and it sells for like hundreds of bucks online. So they're re-releasing it. And they released a note, which I think sums up Wu Life. And they said, do not get too excited. There will be no reformation of the heavy pop quartet. The possibility was discussed, but met with tepid enthusiasm by all. Wu Life was a beautiful thing in its moment. It need not be resurrected for the zombie circus circuit. Unless, of course, we are offered a sweet million to soothe the rigor mortis, then think of this only as a cashing in on our youthful, I don't even know this word, eras. Yeah, so basically, I think the thing is like Wu Life is not coming back unless they get $1 million. So EROS.
Okay.
The Greek god of erotic love. There you go, like Cupid. All right. So, yeah, fun vibe. Wu Life is such a fucking vibe. I love Wu Life. I love the album. I was just listening to it for this was so fun and entertaining for me, and it brought me back. What was your experience listening to Wu Life for this?
They're a little hard to get into. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I listened to, they're very sad. They make me sad to read the lyrics, and listening to the music with the lyrics also was making me very sad.
Okay.
But I do love a gravelly voice. Yeah. I love a gravelly voice. I love a cathartic energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think
definitely.
that's- yeah.
When I was super into Woo Life, I had no idea what the lyrics were, so I just was like into the vibe.
Oh yeah, I can't understand a damn thing he says.
Yeah, and basically, like, I remember, like I said, I was not into them at first, and then it took a while, and I did like that challenge of getting into them, and then suddenly I was into them, and I was like, hell yeah, Woo Life for life. Listening to the music with the lyrics open was sad. I got more sad than I was like, oh wow, these lyrics are actually quite sad. A lot of themes came up in the lyrics. I took a notes. There were a lot of lyrics about parents, blood, crowns, mountains, fire, wolves, and just loving things forever. Loving things forever comes up a lot. I love you forever comes up a lot.
Those themes of like fire, mountain, wolves, very British, I feel like. Like, remember we were
Game of
talking
Thrones,
about
yeah.
remember we were talking about like 70s bands, and every 70s band had, or like late 60s, early 70s had like singing about wizards and shit from England. It was all just like, it's interesting that Woo Life kind of brought that, not wizards, but they kind of brought that vibe a little bit for their music.
I will say, just as a thing to prepare our audience, we're just not only doing Woo Life lyrics, but we're also going to pull lyrics from Lost Under Heaven, just because Woo Life only has like 10 songs, and I think there's more to pull from. It's same lyricist, right, as Woo Life, so I think that's fair. Okay, that is fair. I think we're.
Guess what? We also make the rules. We make the rules.
We make the rules. We are judge, jury, and executioner on the fucking Lyric Boys podcast. Get that through your head, audience. We love you and we hope you subscribe. So, want me to kick it off?
Yes, let's get into it.
So, I'm picking, I think, the biggest. If Woo Life has a hit song, it is We Bros. So, the lyric is from the song We Bros, which, amazing already.
Is the title does the title mean we are bros, or does it mean we, comma, bros, like we, like us bros, etc.?
Amazing question for the audience to ponder as I read this lyric out loud. All right.
Okay. All right.
So the lyric for We Bros is, we were born as animals. We were born as animals and we bros. But you put suits on animals. You try to put suits on animals, but we bros.
Ah. Well,
We
I feel
are
like it
bros.
answers
That's what
my
it is.
question. Yes. We are bros. You want to go ahead and take a whack at what you think this lyric could possibly fucking mean?
Yeah, I think it's obvious, man. I think it's a very obvious lyric, but that's their dynamic. No, I love the way this, like, genuinely love this lyric. Like, there's something so interesting about Woo Life to me and this lyrical style, which basically, we bros, right? It's like, once again, that's not we are bros. It's just we bros, right? And the way, like, language is just, like, distilled in this band, I find so interesting. Like, the way, like, we just get rid of words you normally need in a sentence, but it still makes sense. So, like, to me, this is the most simplistic way of talking about, like, human evolution and, like, society's growth from, like, the way that we're animals to the way now, like, we're in a capitalistic world, right? Whatever world, a modern world, whatever. This is that. It distills it in such a fun way. I love it. I love the idea.
Evolution, right? You put suits on animals, like you're trying to put suits. I was more so picturing a man who's very much into taxidermy, and he likes to put little suits on animals and, like, display them around the house. And then the singer is like, look, we were friends, and you have taxidermied one too many animals and put one too many little tiny suits on them, and I just can't continue this friendship anymore.
In the world in which we don't understand subtext, right? We're talking about the Lyric Boys don't understand lyrics. I'm imagining, like, a cute little pig with a suit on, like a little, like, blue suit.
That's what I was.
White shirt or red tie, but not a dead one, just a living pig who wanks around walking with a little briefcase, and everyone's just like adorable.
I was picturing, like, a lot of squirrels. Like, this guy just like finds squirrels in his yard, taxidermies them, and puts them in suits, and he has them around his house. And every time this Woo Life guy comes over, he's like, I really can't be in your house anymore. It's creeping me out. We were bros because it could be.
We were brothers and good friends until you started dressing up
right. It
animals
could be
in a
we
creepy
were.
way.
It could be we were bros, not we are bros.
Yeah. I do think one thing that makes Woo Life so effective, now that I actually look at all their lyrics, is the repetition of the lyrics and the simplicity of it really makes every song feel like a rallying cry. It's like anyone could understand this lyric.
Except for us.
Except for us, because we don't understand anything. But I do love, we were born as animals and we bros. Yes. Hell yeah, kings. We are all born as animals and we are bros. The Lyric Boys are your bros. Anyone listening to this podcast is an animal who's a bro with the Lyric Boys, and we are bros with you.
That's right, bros.
And I love the whole the way of distilling evolution and like just like whatever social structures we have as putting suits on animals. I love it. Like it's like when people dress up their dogs and bring them on skateboards and go around Central Park, and you're like, this is that dog does not look happy.
Sometimes they look happy. We did see a like a pug, I guess it was, or like
Bulldog King.
A bulldog, yeah, on a skateboard. And I feel like
bad relationship there.
Well, the behavior wasn't great of what we were seeing.
So our version could be you put skateboard under dog. You put skateboard under dog, but we bros.
Yes.
That's how I felt. So a couple YouTube comments, because remember we like our YouTube comments.
We do stand a YouTube comment.
One is just can't understand a word of it, but I love it. There was definitely a while where that is my Woo Life vibe. Number two
that sums them up.
Yeah. They made one of the best albums of the last 25 years and they split up. It's not a great career plan, but it's the perfect way to slip into the glory of eternal whispered legend. Thank you. That is exactly the vibe.
Eternal Whispered Legend is going to be the new name of the band that he forms after Lost Under Heaven.
Yeah. One other thing is that I was watching like the guys from Lost Under Heaven go live on Instagram sometimes. They're good follow. You audience, if you're a Woo Life stan, Lyric Boys stan, go follow Lost Under Heaven too. But James, or Ellerly James, right, was talking about the song saying that a lot of bros, like frat bros, got really into it because like we bros. And that is also so funny to me, just like imagining like salmon colored short frat boys kind of wearing shirts that I'm wearing right now, but like arm in arm at a frat house singing We Bros and just being like we bros. And the song is about we bros. Oh man, I love my Delta Gamma Chi frat bros.
My chai latte frat bros.
I'm pledging chai latte this year. Am I right?
You're getting a view of the tissue box here with that my mic is in.
Amazing. For all listeners at home, Andrew Stieglitz uses a tissue box as his microphone stand, and it's very, very cute, very adorable. And when we stand a man who is handy like MacGyver. Anyway, Stieglitz, give me your first Woo Life lyric.
All right, my first Woo Life lyric is from the first song on the first album, the only album. It's called Life, I guess, Lyf.
Yeah.
And the lyric is, I woke up today to hear the baby say, we can't live this way. I won't hold this crown. Smart baby.
One thing that came up a lot in the lyrics is crowns, right? Like I said, like little crowns, little king hats, if you will, right? To quote LCD Sound System. I don't quite. I feel like there's a lot of imagery that can be with crowns. You know, I don't know if it's like a king crown or if it's like a crown of thorns, like a Jesus-y, like a violent, bloody crown. Which I feel like for Woo Life that makes more sense to me. Mm-hmm. But I wonder, what crown do you think this baby's rejecting? It could also be, the Burger King kids.
I was just thinking. I think that the baby went to Burger King. Maybe baby is. I think that the word that we should really focus on is baby, because maybe it's more of like a 5 or 6 year old going to Burger King, right? Somebody who can talk.
Yes.
And the 5 or 6 year old goes to Burger King and he gets the Burger King crown. And he's like, "Mother, I do not respect this crown. The fast food enterprise is damaging our health and our economy. It is moving out the mom and pop businesses, and I won't wear it." That's what I was picturing.
You put buns on burgers, on cows, but we bros. I think that this baby could also be like a big Wendy's or McDonald's aficionado and is like, you trying to placate me with this dumbass Burger King crown? That's not going to fly in my book.
Yeah.
Wendy is my true love.
Yeah, or he's just like, yeah. He's like, listen, Taco Bell is better than Burger King. And that's the message of this song.
I think that's it. Otherwise, if I just actually try to dissect what this crown represents, it will just like be very evident to your audience how uneducated and dull my brain is. So I'm saying I'm here for the Burger King take. It's time.
Yeah, audience, if you can learn anything from this podcast, it is that the song Life is about Burger King versus other fast food franchises.
Yes. So my second lyric of Woo Life is from the song Spitting Blood, which really in the Woo Life voice is pronounced like spit and blood. Like, it's fucking great.
Spit blood!
Yeah. So the lyric is, so let's just keep eating more, and more. And then we all go throw up on the poor.
My
Once
favorite
again,
activity.
Once again, could be two things, right? It could first be a sense of want and overconsumption and how that is dangerous and bad. Or it could be someone who ate too much at a fast food restaurant again, right? It could be, we keep coming back to that.
I think it could be, yes, I think that this actually, if we're discovering anything, it's that this is a concept album about Burger King.
Yeah.
And fast food. And what happened is the toddler, went into Burger King, threw the crown on the floor, had a fit, was like, "Mom, I told you I didn't want Burger King." Went outside, threw up on a homeless person. And that's the story. That's the story of this album.
We've mentioned it before, but it's once again reminds me of the Monty Python's Mr. Creosote scene in The Meaning of Life, where it's Terry Jones that just plays this rich man who just keeps eating and eating and eating and eating, and he balloons and he's got food all over him and he just explodes. And that's the image I get here. It's a very like iconic scene for me. It's like very gross, but like I hear this.
I have experienced that sensation where like I will eat so much that I'm like, I should just throw this all up right now. Have you ever? I'm sure that everybody has experienced that, right? Where you're just like eating, you're like, this is so fucking good. I want to die.
Yeah. Hell yeah. The YouTube comment I want to talk about is someone just said, "Just got my wisdom teeth pulled out. This song is the soundtrack to it all." So I love that someone out there was probably like, had never heard of Woo Life and were like, "I got my wisdom teeth out and I'm spitting blood. Let's listen to songs about spitting blood that make me feel seen and heard and loved in this cruel, dark universe." And then this person comes across Woo Life, spitting blood, and is like, yes, I feel seen.
Important question.
Yes. Tell me.
I don't think that we have talked about this on the podcast, but I think it's going to ignite some debate. Favorite fast food chain? What is it?
I will say historically, I've been a Burger King over a McDonald's guy.
Okay, controversial.
Yeah, but you gotta live for the king, right? Lately, I find myself gravitating towards Taco Bell when I get a chance. That's just like my late night thing, as you saw last weekend.
So for me,
yes.
I think that the absolute height peak of fast food is Wendy's.
Wendy's is great. Underappreciated gem.
I think that you get, dude, their spicy chicken sandwich. Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich is an iconic fast food meal. the old-fashioned square hamburgers. I don't know why they're called old-fashioned, because they're square. I don't think like in the old country people were making square hamburgers.
You know,
But-
your grandma came to Ellis Island
With the square
with
hamburger. Nothing but a square hamburger and 10 cents in her pocket.
Mhm.
The French Wendy's fries are fantastic. The Frosty. Oh my God. The Frosty. I could just go on about how great the Frosty is. What a great invention. Here's a hot take on my part. Never have been a huge Taco Bell fan. Taco Bell was never my go-to. Growing up, a lot of my friends used to love it, and it was not my thing. That is, I'm sorry if we've lost subscribers from that statement, because I feel like Taco Bell kind of ignites that passion in people. But I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, I think Woo Life is probably not necessarily a huge fast food fan in general. I think they probably don't like the speed and consumption. And I feel like yeah. I
Well,
feel like
then
you-
they haven't had Wendy's.
Wow.
Because if
All
you
right.
have Wendy's, you'll be like, the next album will be a concept album about how great fast food is.
Yeah, that's when you've really lost it. You're just like, as an artist, you're like, what do I write about? Let's see. I've already written about my family and heartbreak and stress
Capitalism.
and post 9/11 New York City
Post 9/11.
and you know, anxiety about my place in the universe as a creative
Political systems.
Yeah, political albums. I did that country album with Loretta Lynn, and now what do I want to write about? Fast food. All my favorite fast food places. This is the new Death Cab for Cutie album. My fast food places that I like.
I would listen to that.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely, listen to that. Just because in what world does any band put out a fast food concept album? So I don't know. I would totally listen to it. All right,
Damn,
give me
somebody's
your.
gonna steal our idea.
Better not. All right, they better not. Give me your second.
Yes, my second
Woo Life
lyric is from the second song on that album called Cave Song. And the lyric is, "Don't call the police, I'm begging you please, because you know, it's dark in this cave. The spotlight can't find the stage."
Okay.
Man has committed a murder. That's what I'm getting here.
The kind of Lord vibes again with the murder and the police. Now, anytime murder or police is going to be brought up in this podcast, you're like, oh, that's such a Lord lyric. And people are going to have this view of Lord as like a homicidal maniac. Anyway.
Yeah. Don't call the police, I'm begging you. It's just like, it sounds like a guy is just reaching for anything to not have the police be called on this heinous crime he's
It's too
committed.
dark for the police to come.
Yeah, it's too dark. They're not going to be able to see, and they're like, they have flashlights, they'll be fine. It's like, no, just the spotlight. It can't, we're in a cave.
I do kind of get the vibe that he's just like searching for answers. Like, don't call the police. I'm begging you, please, because you know it's dark in the cave. Oh, it's too dark for the police. The police can't operate in the dark. You know this, Edna.
Yeah.
Don't call the police.
Edna. Interesting name. I love the names sometimes that you pull from your brain. Edna is a great one.
Thank you.
Gerald has been mentioned a number of times on this podcast.
Yeah,
And
I forgot
like
that Gerald's
to
my
think that
go-to.
I like that Gerald is like a third. It's like a third podcast host.
Yeah, spiritually, Gerald is with us at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't
this
call
is
the
a
police.
lyric.
Yeah. Not a great
Genuine-
excuse. If you were going to find an excuse to have somebody not call the police, I would say think of a better one than just it's too dark, because they have flashlights and they are professionally trained to use them.
Don't call the police. I'm begging you, please, because you know I'm too hot for jail.
Yeah. Don't call the police because it is the forecast outside is predicting rain, and I just don't want them to get into a car accident.
It's windy. We don't want no police out in the wind.
Yeah.
All right. My third Woo Life lyric is from the song Dirt So there's two lyrics I pulled from here. The second one is like the more memorable one for me, but the first one is same vibe as this one is, me and your friends, we killed a man by telling him things he couldn't understand. And then later in the song, one of the more iconic Wu Life lyrics that gets in my head a lot, along with We Bros, is no matter what they said, dollar is not your friend. Which, once again, I appreciate just the lack of words to put the sentence together in like a grammatically correct way. And I don't mean that like in a pithy, sarcastic way. Like, I do like that vibe, right? Because there's other ways you can say this, but just dollar is not your friend. Dollar, singular dollar, fascinating, is not your friend. I love that. I love that so much. There's other ways you can say this that would be like preachier sounding and like annoying, but to break it down this simply, I'm just like, yes, dollar's not my friend.
For the first part of this lyric, I'm picturing, let's say, like a torture chamber, right?
Yeah.
And there is a like a terrorist being interrogated by the U.S. government.
Yeah.
And instead of like water torture or whatever they do, like waterboarding, they're like, just fill his mind with so many facts that his brain can't possibly delete the cache, delete the hard drive before it makes room for new memories. So what's going to end up happening is his brain will literally explode. You'll see his head start to expand with all of the information and facts that you're filling it with. And they just like play headphones of like, they put headphones on him and it's every Wikipedia page at the same time, like at 2.5 times speed. And so it's just boom, it's reciting facts. And then this man dies.
To me, it's like when you talk about something with someone who doesn't know, like if you're like nerd out about something and someone doesn't know anything you're talking about and you just like don't stop nerding out, or like when you're stuck on that in those conversations where someone's like, all right, so listen, there's Luke, right? His dad is fucking Darth Vader, all right? But like he's got a sister named Leia, but they like Leia and him, like, I don't know, we're half flirty, but then it's gonna discover that they're sisters. And listen, Darth Vader is also Anakin Skywalker, and Anakin, his like spiritual pappy is Emperor Palpatine, but some people call him
this is
Chancellor.
Like, it's like that meme of the guy whispering in the girl's ear and she's making that disgusted face and they're in like a bar or whatever.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes people tell me plots of things, or a big thing for me that confuses me is when people have jobs that make no sense to me and they're like, yeah, I'm a consultant. I consult with companies to make consulting money. And I'm just like,
I don't understand consultants either. What do you do? Are you the company therapist? That's what it sounds like. Consulting to me sounds like the CEO is like seeing you for therapy.
Yeah. Like I consult for Walmart and you're just like, well, sir, how does it make you feel to be,
have everyday low prices? How does that make you feel? If you are a consultant, please let us know what it is you do. Otherwise, we're both going to think that you are a therapist for companies.
Yeah, I feel like that should exist more. I think companies are people, right? We know that now. And so companies are people and companies need therapy.
Yes. Everybody should get therapy, including the idea of Walmart should get therapy.
Hello, this is Wendy from Wendy's, and just not feeling great about my old-fashioned burgers. I wonder if they're too old-fashioned, and maybe I need to change it up and get bangs or something.
Hello, this is Mr. Bell, as in Taco Bell. I feel like a fraud. I feel like a fake Mexican. I feel like I'm appropriating my own culture.
So the second part, no matter what they said, dollar is not your friend. Love it. I just love the idea. Like there's other ways you could have said like the constant pursuit of money is damaging to you. But just to be like dollar is not your friend. Love it. Just like the idea of like dollar being a friend, the singular dollar, just that represents all money. Great. I'm just like imagining someone like getting chummy with like, I'm imagining basically a dollar bill with googly eyes and like arms and legs that are gloved, like kind of Mickey Mouse gloved hands, sitting on your couch being like, just like being a bad influence, and be like,
yeah,
take some of this crack pipe, and you're just like, dollar, I have to come to terms with this. This is toxic.
Dollar, you are peer pressuring me. Like Run the Jewels once said, look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar. Get it? You want to hear my third lyric?
I do want to hear your third Woo Life lyric.
My third Woo Life lyric is from the song Such a Sad Puppy Dog.
Love the title. One of my favorite, probably my favorite Woo Life title.
Intriguing title. The lyric is, my baby's got no words for me. You know my brother's in jail. My father said, son, oh son, I can't afford his bail. And they put a crown on, too, his head. And they put a crown onto his head, and they murdered him. So, sad. Very sad.
Hashtag sad.
Hashtag sad. Yeah. Yeah, so I was listening to this, and actually, first I read the lyric, right? Before I even put on the song. And I texted you, I was like, this is so fucking sad. And you're like, listen to the music. And I listened to the music, and I was like, this is even sadder now, listening to the music. God damn. Father can't afford his son's bail, and the son is murdered by the state as part of the death penalty. The only way that this will make me happy is if I learn that the son is like an actual horrendous human being, a serial murder rapist who is just also a pedophile and also is actually Adolf Hitler. Then I'll be like, okay, maybe it's a happy song.
Yeah, well, this is one of the cases of I had no idea that these were the lyrics. I would always kind of like sing along in my head to like these songs, but just more like sing guttural noises to myself.
Yeah. I've done that with bands too.
Yeah, and so it was when I was actually reading the lyrics aligned with listening to the song, it did get a lot sadder, and the lyrics then felt even more like heartbroken and emotional and pained. Like they feel pained in general, but then when you're reading these lyrics with it, you're like, oh my God, this is like very pained. Yeah, it's also once again one of the Woo Life traits of just being very repetitive, not in a bad way, but just like the song slowly builds up almost like some sort of like nursery rhyme where it's like, my baby's got no words for me. And then I think he says like, my baby's got no words for me, right? He repeats it a bunch of times. Once again, the crown, they put a crown on his head and they murdered him. Once again, a very Jesus-y image, or Burger King the King image. Because, I think the King was too ahead of its time. The King was maligned. People were like, we don't like the Burger King. We got to murder him.
I actually think it's they took him to Burger King for his last meal.
Then they just murdered him at Burger King.
Yeah, they
One other thing that
fryer grease on him.
One other thing that enhanced the lore of Woo Life is that they recorded their album in like an old church.
Oh,
and
okay.
the name Lucifer Youth Foundation and just the church organ in some of the songs and like this imagery of blood and crowns. It adds to the complete package that is Woo Life.
Yeah. I like that.
All right, I'm going to switch gears over here. Make that lane switch, right?
Switch it up, baby. Oh,
I'm going to talk...
You're talking about Lost Under Heaven, aren't you?
Talking about Lost Under Heaven. I've got 2 Lost Under Heaven lyrics left, so my Woo Life portion of the podcast is done. All right? Woo Life is dead to me. Lost Under Heaven is real. Anyway. This comes from the first Lost Under Heaven album, and the song is Lament. The lyric is, I said, oh... to the powers of old, to the powers that be, you have fucked up this world, but you will not fuck with me.
I like that.
What a vibe.
Like that. Yeah.
amazing vibe. I almost could feel like I could see that in a Run the Jewels song, right?
Yeah, definitely.
There's just something so cathartic. It's also like, if you look at that, now we're saying like this is a couple years after Woo Life. It's a little more positive. Obviously, that is like...
It is like, if you're happy and you know it, compared to Woo Life. Like, it is a lot more like, there's a lot more bravado in that almost, you know?
Well, Woo Life was like, I'm being brought down with this society that's like bringing me with it. Like like modernity and any like just modernity in general, any like non-animalistic thing, I'm dead. Like it fucked with me. This one is like, you know what? You can fuck everything up, but you can't fuck with me. I'm the king, no matter what.
Yeah. If you combined this lyric with the one that we just read about the son being put to death, it would be like, the father's son is put to death, and then the father said, I don't give a fuck. You can't bring me down, baby.
There's also like just this vibe of like, the world's burning, you know, like whether it's a Mad Max world or just like, you know, climate change or anything. And you're just like, you know what? This sucks. But hey, I'm the king and I feel great. Bow down. Which I just love it. It's just such a, there's something so big to also, not only are you like you're just taking on like, to the powers of old, to the powers that be. Everything. The powers of old, just like the powers that be, anyone who's ever had any authority, even if it's like the MTA, like the transit authorities, like any authority in any situation ever that's ever existed, the church, religion, like
it's like the
various countries, empires, subway store delayed. Managers.
Yeah.
Anyone is just being brought down. It's like, you know what? Hey, you all suck. Doesn't matter. I'm still going to be my own boy. Well,
it's like the subway is delayed, and instead of being upset, instead of singing about like, my train is 5 minutes late, it's like, listen, I'm just going to fucking walk because I am my own man. The subway can't rule me.
I love it. It's just that rallying cry. It's just, this music gets me so hype.
You want to hear my fourth lyric?
Hey, King. Yeah. Don't ask questions that you already know the answer to. Of course, I want to hear your fourth lyric. Why else do you think I do this podcast if not to hear your lyrics?
What an asshole response that is.
I love to see the way your mind works.
My fourth lyric is from the song Heavy Pop. Also a Woo Life song. And the lyric is, so when the morning comes and we're all dead, we can live free, just like my brother said. He said, don't stay, go out and play. You can't live until you're dead. Don't stay, go out and play. You can't live until you're dead. Well,
once again, I had no idea these are the lyrics. I love the song Heavy Pop so much. It gets me so hyped because it's like, starts really slow and then just fucking massive ass drums come in that are huge, and you're just like, your body shakes. It's like you're in a car with some subwoofers or something.
Yeah. We can live free when we're dead. Is this the concept of killing the ego? Is that what this is? Kill your ego. Ego death.
There's only one way to find out. We got to track down Ellery Roberts and be like, sir, this is about killing the ego. So what is interesting about this to me, all right, first of all, don't stay, go out and play. Great. We love that. That's what everyone listening to this podcast, wait until it's finished in like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or less, maybe quicker. Then go out and play, live your damn lives, or go back and listen to other episodes of the Lyric Boys podcast that you might have missed. You can't live until you're dead, though. What does that mean? What does that mean, Andrew? You philosopher boy?
I think it means that, okay, so this is the brother character, right? Who
he shows up a lot.
He was put to death.
Yes.
in the last song that I read. So I think what happened is the brother was like, maybe he requested formally to be put to death, and none of the family members. None of the family members would do it.
I didn't know that you could formally request to be put to death.
Well, he was like, look,
he got a ticket from the local death council, and he's like, all right, it's my time.
Yeah, well, I think he asked his family. He was like, just kill me. And they were like, we're not going to do that. We don't want to kill you. And he's like, well, I don't want to kill myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and commit the most heinous crimes a person can commit just so that I can be put to death by the state, and make my big statement of you can't live until you're dead, leaving everybody wondering, why would he do that? And what the fuck did he mean? Now, that is my story. I also think this is the same person. This is the same baby from earlier who went to Burger King. And maybe he was corrupted by the king. Maybe the king did something. Maybe he ate too much Burger King and it rotted his brain. I don't know.
You know what vibes I'm getting from you right now?
It's fucking schizophrenic vibes just all over
yep.
the place.
The vibe I'm getting from you is like Charles Manson decoding the White Album. Basically being like, all right, so Helter Skelter, that's a race war, right? And so there's the blackbirds and there's the piggies, right? And Honey Pie is imploring me to go across the ocean and murder people, right? Yeah, all right, that all makes sense. You're basically just doing that, and you're creating this weird universe. You're like, all right, so fast food baby and murdered brother, all right?
Yeah. I have had a lot of coffee. And I also took 2 Sudafed pills. So my brain is flying high, man.
If you or anyone else is in trouble of doing too much coffee and too much Sudafed, please reach out and we can help you.
I love Sudafed. I love the way it makes me feel. It's a problem.
Oh, man. Yeah, I guess an interesting thing about this to me is don't stay, go out and play is a very positive message. I think one of the more positive Woo Life messages, and I'm like, yes, go out and play, do your thing. We animals, go out and frolic and graze on some grass, right? You can't live until you're dead, though. Oh, and maybe that means don't wait until death to live. But then if the message is just you'll be free when you're dead, it's okay, that's a little darker. I don't know.
Yeah, probably the darker one, I would say, for Woo Life. Just if this was Lost Under Heaven, I would say it would be the more positive one, right? But
yeah. I will say that this is heavy pop, and it just made me think of how we recently recorded our Olivia Rodrigo episode, where her genres were just art pop, punk pop, heavy pop. It was all something pop. I now want to see... And also, she's someone with just one album that's made some noise, and I feel like Woo Life is someone with just one album that's made some noise, so I feel like this could be a good sound for her.
Woo Life, get back together with Olivia Rodrigo as your lead singer.
I do genuinely, after this episode, want to put together an Indiegogo for $1,001 that says Woo Life, get back together, and just to see what happens. And then I'm gonna raise maybe, I don't know, $25,000, and people are gonna be like, what did you do with that money, Lucian? I'm I don't know. I don't know what happened. What money? We got $25,000 promised. No,
you funneled it into an offshore Lyric Boys account based in Switzerland.
Yeah. Well, it's the type of thing where it's all right, they said they'll get back together for $1 million, and we only raised $900,000. So looks like Woo Life's not getting back together, and I'm gonna keep the money. So joke's on you, internet.
Great scam. I love a good scam like that.
It is a great scam. It's a foolproof scam. I think I'll consult with my the people that fix my books. Am I right?
Whoops! You let that slip on the public pod.
Everyone who listens to this podcast at least has 3 books, right? The books that show you're losing money, the books that show you making money, and the books that show you at neutral. Oh no, the real books. But
you're forgetting about the most important of all, the good book, the Holy Bible.
Amen.
And with that...
Yeah, that's a book that talks about crowns, am I right?
A little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, my final lyric is once again from Lost Under Heaven, from the first album, from the song Beneath the Concrete, which in New York City is just a subway, am I right? Oh,
and dead
topical.
bodies, probably.
I mean, yes. Anyway, The lyric is, all we are is just people trying. All we are is just people trying to live. Once again, love this. Love this vibe so much, where I think about like a lot of these Woo Life lyrics or in Lost Under Heaven lyrics I've just like stayed in my head. Simply, I think once again how simple and repeatable they are. So they make them like really good like mantras.
They're like mantras.
For life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think about this a lot. Whenever like anyone annoys me or like I'm just like, why did they do that? Like, why make that decision? Or like, why are you tailgating me, Mr. Man, in a Dodge Charger? And in my head, it's like, all we are just people trying to live.
Just trying to live, yeah. I think that that's a good thing to say to, like, if your boss gives you an assignment and you don't want to do it, you just say, Mr. Boss Man, I'm just trying to live. Maybe you'll make them enlightened, and maybe, just maybe, they'll say, you're right. Why did I try and put a suit on this animal body of mine? I cannot be tamed. And then they'll release you.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a good mantra to have like anytime anyone bothers you. Anytime. Or it's like someone like forgot your extra cheese on the pizza that you ordered and you're just like, just trying to live. That's all we're trying to do. But also,
if you get that angry about that, like, and that you have to repeat a mantra to yourself, you need something. You need a little extra than that, than just a mantra.
It is something that's funny where it's like, I think of like distilling all of humanity in everything we do, including this podcast, including people at home listening to this podcast. It's just, we're just trying to live. All we are is people trying to live. All right, Lyric Boys stands. You're trying to live. We're trying to live. We're in this together. Remember that next time someone annoys you ever so slightly. All right?
I like it.
Live.
Just trying to live.
Just trying to live.
Sometimes you got to try, man.
Yeah. Wow.
You want to hear?
We haven't reached enlightenment at the end of my lyrics, but we still got one more. So
we got one more from me, and I'm making
baby.
The afterlife, because I'm making that a turn from Woo Life to Lost Under Heaven. Woo! You ready for that?
Yes.
The name of the song, I don't know how to say. It's $, and then Oro. So
sorrow. It's like sorrow. Like, I feel lots of sorrow, but spelled with the $, R-O. Like S-O-R-O.
So Oro, I believe in Spanish means gold. Am I right?
It does.
Yes.
Oh, man.
That's why I was reading this like $ gold. I honestly thought it meant. But yeah, it's sorrow. Anyway, the lyric is, hey boy, you know the game is rigged. Don't even try, boy. The truth does not exist. Go to work, sleep, repeat until you are fucking dead. This is bringing it back to a little bit more, I wouldn't say sad. I'd say defeatist. It's a little defeatist. It's like, because on this same album, right, he was like, the world cannot fuck with me. But then he's like, actually, never mind, it can. Fuck this whole thing. I don't like it.
This song is like the hardest song in Lost Under Heaven's career. I don't know if, basically it's like slow build up. And then he goes, go work, sleep, repeat until you are fucking dead. And then suddenly a fuck ton of bass and drums comes in and it's just like, and it just becomes, it has like a 3-minute ending that is massive. I remember hearing the song live and it just like tearing down the house and just like how like, once again, huge it is. I've also been in a car with a friend where we just blasted this and I showed him the song. He was like, holy shit. He's like, this is going on all of my hype playlists forever. Like, nice. But once again, maybe not a hype message. The don't even try, boy. The truth does not exist. Hell yeah.
What is the truth that he is talking about here?
I don't know. The truth.
Any truth? A universal truth?
It's two things in my mind. It's either the truth of the truth of life and the universe and the meaning of life, or it's the truth of who's the real Burger King. to go back to your fucking crazy person ramblings, that all of this stuff is about fast food.
I realized that, like, I probably have blacked out this whole podcast. It's just like making up shit. If you could see, like, my legs are moving like a million miles. I feel like the atoms in my body have accelerated.
When you say that your legs are moving a million miles an hour, I'm not just imagining you like twitching and like shaking. I'm imagining you kind of doing like a river dance routine underneath your desk.
Yeah.
Just like, imagine if you just had a coworker who did that. It's like, all right, Anna, you gotta like, I know you used to be a river dancer, but like the whole floor is shaking. All right.
Gerald, I know
Gerald,
that
yes.
you are a tap dancer on Broadway, but right now you're in the office.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're in the office when you're a Broadway star, but you work here.
Looking at Sorrow, right? $Oro. You were right. It's like a more sad message, but I scrolled to the ending lyric just to see if it like got positive.
Mm.
And at some point he says, "You got one life, so take all that you can get and gorge your soul with all the greed in your fucking head." So I feel like that's a slightly more positive message to end it with, right? So still, I think Lost Under Heaven in the positivity scale is above Woo Life.
When he
Makes
says engorge your soul with all the greed you can get, do you know what he's talking about? He's talking about
fast food,
Whoppers.
for
He's
sure.
talking about Whoppers.
Yeah.
Specifically the Burger King Whopper.
To quote the Kendrick Lamar episode, to do a, not quote it, but to what's the word I want to
Pay homage to it.
What is the word? To not quote, but
Reference?
basically to give you like the gist of it, right? What is that word?
Summarize?
What is that word? Summarize. To summarize the lyrics of Kendrick Lamar.
I thought I was like messed up on this podcast.
It's been a long life, all right?
It's been a long life.
Just trying to live. It doesn't matter, right? Like whether you're playing Madden or watching a comedy, taking a shit, whatever, right? As long as
just
like
do it.
make it work, right? That's what Kendrick was saying. And this could be that too. It's like gorge your soul with all the greed in your fucking head. Eat those french fries. Eat that Whopper. Get a Big Mac. Get 3 Big Macs. Get a quesarito. Do it all. As long as you're taking all you got about life. If that's what you want out of life, do it.
Sometimes I feel like has anybody ever gone up to this man Ellery and said, "Hey, it's okay. It's going to be okay."
I think so.
Somebody
I hope
should.
so.
Somebody should just be. I feel like that's kind of all he needs. I feel like really all he needs is for somebody to just firmly say, "Hey, it's all right, man.
You want to tell him right now?
Ellery, it's all right. It's okay. Everything's okay. Everything is going to be okay. Don't worry."
Great. We love it. Hope that helps. But yeah, I feel like I get that vibe that like he feels that way a little bit more now. So that's
yes,
good.
it sounds like like in the later songs has come to a conclusion that not everything is as terrible as he thought it was, perhaps. Or maybe it's just a more open mind to the terribleness.
Yeah, I think he got more into love, so that's a good thing. That's that love we like more than babies getting sent to death. All right, with that, let's do so this is the part of the podcast. Longtime listeners, new listeners, glad you made it this far. So this is the part of the podcast where we improvise, we make up our own version of Woo Life lyrics. So we're going to take like a minute or two to just like off the dome come up with something that basically a lyric that could fit on Go Tell Fire to the Mountain or whatever new Woo Life album or a collab with Olivia Rodrigo is going to happen, right? So
yes,
that's what we're doing.
Get her as the new singer.
All right, so we're going to take a minute, come up with some Woo Life. Remember, there's a lot of theme of blood, crowns, mountains, fire, wolves, dollar. What are we going to talk about? Find out. Find out in now when we cut out the dead air. So Andrew and I just wrote our own version of Woo Life lyrics. I think it took about a good minute and a half, and we got them. I'm excited. Shall I begin?
Yes, let me hear your Woo Life lyric.
So my made-up Woo Life song is called Hole.
Okay.
All right, it's spelled Hole, but if maybe we could jazz it up and spell it like HO pound symbol
Oh my God.
E.
Okay.
Pound is in the British pound sterling versus the number sign. All right, so I wish I could do the voice, and I might try the voice, but I'm too self-conscious to do the voice, so I'll do it without the voice.
Please do
all
not
right?
appropriate a voice.
Yeah, Manchester culture
White
is not
man's
mine.
voice, yeah.
It's okay to cry when the knife cuts your eye. It's okay to fall when life kicked them balls. Get back up, please get back up. Shout to the elites and them peeps with manicured feets. There's no taming my soul. No matter how deep, climb out any hole.
Wow, that is positive. That gets me hype. I will climb out any hole. I will not let them get me down. I will rise.
Rise up.
Rise up. I like it. That is hype. That's a hype. That's a positive message.
If I had more time with it, I might cut out more words to just get to the basic elements. But
you don't.
Don't got time.
Do you want to hear mine?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to tell you the title after I read it, because otherwise it's going to give it away.
Okay.
It's going to give away the gold.
It's a one-word song.
So, yeah. So it goes like this. Today I smoked my fears away, rode up the mountain and heard the gods say, take off your crown, flip over that frown, and from the bottom of my heart sing, I love, oh yes, I love Burger King. And the name of that song is Burger King.
Imagine it's if Woo Life didn't break up and just slowly sold out, and then there's
Burger King commercial. Yeah, it's just him screaming about Burger King.
You know what I'd love to do, actually? And we probably won't do it, but to take a Burger King commercial and just put a Woo Life song over it. Just any car commercial or something, and be like Cadillac. Because what is it, Cadillac that always uses Run the Jewels? Or Lincoln or something? I think Cadillac.
It's Lincoln. Oh,
and it's the song that's picture this, I'm a bag of dicks, put me to your lips. And it's so funny that song, they just removed the lyric, and that's in so many car commercials. And I'm just what a bizarre thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love for a punk rock voice to just sell out about Burger King.
So, listen, that was the Woo Life episode of the Lyric Boys. So, I loved it. I had a great time. We hope you had a great time. And if you had a really good time, a time you won't forget, or a time that you need to reach across and smoke a pack of cigs because it was such a good time, then listen, subscribe to the Lyric Boys wherever you're listening to this podcast or wherever you're watching it, and that'll just ensure that you won't miss an episode. You'll get alerts or whatever if you have alerts that our new episodes come out. And we've done 20, I don't know what number this is, 27, 28 episodes of this. So there's a ton of bands out there that you might know, you might not like, and we dig into the lyrics, and we do what we did for Woo Life with other bands, and honey, it's a great time. And it is a fantastic time, and we would appreciate that. It would fill our hearts with joy. And secondly, we are on social media. We are there, and we're proud to be there. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's all of them. You can find us at The Lyric Boys. We tend to be on Instagram the most. We post clips. We post links and things. We do all that stuff. You can DM us. You can reach out to us. Sometimes we like to read and give shout outs and stuff. In this episode, I want to give a shout out to one person who's constantly been telling me he's so pumped for the Woo Life episode. Is my old college friend Alex Smallridge. He says he's been listening to the podcast and he just can't wait for the Woo Life episode. Well, guess what? The waiting's over and it's happened, so you have nothing to look forward to anymore. I'm sorry, King, but thank you for requesting it. I'm glad to do it. I'm glad you're looking forward to it, and
I'm sorry, King. I know you didn't mean that passive aggressively, but the way that comes out is hilariously passive aggressive.
King, do not give me notes on air. All right, wait until we're done recording. All right, King. So this is the point of the podcast where Andrew talks to you guys about the music that's playing in the background. Why is that?
Well, it's not from a music library of any kind. The only kind of music library it's from is my fucking brain. And if you want more songs like it, go look them up. Okay? So, I'm flying, man. All right. Freelancer is the name of the person who made those songs. That's also me. Bandcamp, SoundCloud, the works. Do it. Not Spotify yet. One of these days.
And I will just say, to end on a positive note after that, whatever that was.
It's just a lot of coffee and a lot of Sudafed, and it makes me want. I want to like run. I'm hyped. I have like a lot of blood flowing through my brain. My thoughts are shooting off at 1,000,000 miles a second. It's good.
I want you to write a song called "Coffee and Sudafed." Anyway.
Yes.
So, Lyric Boys audience, to quote the Woo Life, "We love you forever. We love you forever."
We also love Burger King.
Wow, you just had to step on my joke.